Why plant-based meat and fish alternatives are gaining popularity these days? 69% of consumers consider it healthier, and 43% think it is better for the planet. But they are concerned about the lower taste, texture experience, and affordability. IMCD inspires discovery by co-creating tasty, healthy, and sustainable plant-based solutions with our partners that are consumer trend-led. Our experts support you in tackling these challenges, exceeding consumers' expectations, and enabling your success in 3 ways. 1. Through exclusive access to unique ingredients and in-depth expertise, we develop formulations around taste, texture, and nutrition. 2. We provide you with a comprehensive approach to the production processes. 3. Innovative concepts and tailored technical solutions from our labs, pilot plant, and toll manufacturing partners to facilitate a shorter time to market development. Question is, what type of plant-based alternative product would you like to develop? There is the emulsion type, like a vegetarian sausage, restructured type like vegetarian burger, and structured type like filet. The type of product you choose to develop will determine the choice of ingredients and the application process. Vegetal's protein type and shape selection are critical. It is soluble or in dry texture, like chunks and fibrous flakes. The choice of the main ingredient is essential for the sensorial experience, nutritional benefits, and affects the cost of the formulation. Appearance and product appeal are also determined by the flavors and colors, carefully chosen by considering the selected vegetal proteins. Oils, fats, and fibers play a crucial role in juiciness and contribute to healthier plant-based alternative products, which could be supplemented by specific minerals and vitamins. To maintain the visual and sensorial experience during and after cooking, IMCD experts guide you to identify the best binding solution. Our pilot plant in Thailand is equipped like a microfactory to process and test formulations in real-life conditions that mirror your industrial processing steps. High moisture extrusion, HME, is the only new advanced technology that allows the production of structured meat and fish analogs. The partnership of IMCD and SG Protein, a Singapore-based contract manufacturing platform for HME meat and fish analogs, gives you unique access to this technology to scale your business while staying asset light. The food and nutrition team is deeply connected to the vibrant ecosystem of plant-based alternatives through institutions and industry experts. Our partners can benefit from our expertise, get the latest learnings, and seize the opportunity. Speak to us today for your next plant-based innovation.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Afwan from Nuffic Indonesia. Welcome to the second info session on plant-based alternatives. This info session is part of the Green Food Contest, your chance to win a full scholarship to undertake Masters in Plant Biology at Nanyang Technological University, Singapore. The competition itself is initiated by IMCD through its IMCD Cares program in cooperation with Nuffic Southeast Asia and Nanyang Technological University. Before introducing our moderator, I would like to say hello to our participants from Vietnam, Xin Chào, the Philippines, Mabuhay, Thailand, Sawadee Krap, and then Singapore, Malaysia, and Indonesia. Ni hao, hello, selamat sore. If you're coming from other countries, please let us know on the comment section. Well, our moderator for this session is the alumni of Wageningen University and Research in the Netherlands. Now he's working as the coordinator for the Laboratory of Plant Pathology and Disease Screening in April Group. Without any further delay, please welcome our moderator, Mr. Muhammad Agni Saha. Agni, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Ahwan. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Green Food Contest online info session. So my name is Muhammad Agni Saha, and I will be serving as your moderator today. So as you may know that according to our latest data, world population have reached around 8 billion people. And one of the most fundamental questions is how to provide enough food sustainably for this gigantic population. So as you also know that animal-based food systems have a huge carbon footprint. Therefore, This competition is here to challenge you on finding plant-based alternative in relation to mitigating the impact of the current animal-based food system. So a participant in this competition will have to submit a research proposal with a focus on solving this problem. And then the winner, one winner of this competition will get a full scholarship to pursue a master's degree at NTU, just like Mr. Awan mentioned. So in today's online session, you will hear 4 presentations from our distinguished speaker. But before we begin, I will have a note for all the participants. First, please put your mic on mute during the presentation. And then each presenter will have a total of 15 minutes of presentation. And then we will have our Q&A session at the end of the session after all speakers finish their presentation. But if after the presentation finish, you already have questions, please send directly your question to me via chat, and then I will read the question out loud for the presenter to answer. So moving along to our session, let us welcome our first speaker, Mr. Emmanuel Collet. We'll be speaking about IMCD cares, and about plant-based food system. So currently, Mr. Collet is a business group director for IMCD Food and Nutrition Asia Pacific. So Mr. Collet, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Agni, for this nice introduction. And I'm very pleased to be with all of you today. So yes, I'm heading the food and nutrition business within IMCD. So probably you're not so familiar with IMCD. We are a global leader in the distribution of specialty ingredients. We operate in various industries within life science and other type of industries, and especially food and nutrition. So our mission, let's say the basic of our mission is a logistic approach. So basically to connect producers of ingredients and users of ingredients. We might be big companies, MNCs, Nestle, Danone, I'm sure this will resonate to you, but also and even more medium-sized and smaller-sized players, including startups. And what we do within IMCD, we bring on top of this logistic baseline an expertise, a kind of consulting, to help them to develop their foundation through certain technical expertise. We guide them as well the regulatory aspects, and as you know, within Asia especially, this regulation is not yet completely harmonized. So we help them to navigate in these regulatory constraints. And to support their innovation, especially to help them to differentiate from the other players, we inspire them through marketing, positioning, claims, soft or hard claims. And we do that with all our local teams where we operate. Our business is really local because the markets are local, the consumers have specific needs. So the way we organize and we articulate these expertise, technical, marketing, regulatory, is to be focused on trends. And these trends, consumer expectations, could be global, regional, or local. Just to give you a very basic example, you might know that in some countries, Indonesia, for example, the sweetness level is maybe higher than in other countries. So in our formulation, we consider this kind of aspects. So within IMCD, the trends and the market expectation we are focusing on are related to health and healthier products, especially, and also plant-based alternatives. So our ambition, our goal is to be a leading enabler or facilitator, if you like, and a direct contributor in this ecosystem of plant-based alternatives. And we would like to do that, and we are doing that day by day through innovation, by contributing to the environmental awareness of the consumers and of the players, and also through the education. So that's why, and that's how this idea of creating this contest in collaboration with Nuffic and NTU is born, let's say. And we are very pleased to give you this potential unique opportunity to have access through this scholarship to one of the world-class, best-in-class education school, let's say, globally and in the region for sure, which is the NTU. Why it's so important and interesting, and Professor will explain it more into detail. It's because whatever will be your field of application, it could be in more the academical world, research, or more on the business side, there are day after day new opportunities, new position, new way of dealing with plant-based. So it will certainly give you a broad future, let's say, in these environments. Maybe just to initiate a bit and to guide the expectations, because this is a contest, this is a competition, so there is some work to do on your side, let's say. But again, I would like to emphasize the fact that the key criteria and where consumers, and especially Asian consumers, are expecting some progresses now are definitely related to healthier products, how these plant-based alternatives can contribute to my well-being as a consumer, how the taste can be improved, because you've certainly experienced that by yourself. Till recently, the product could be more or less good, let's say, on the taste point of view. How could it be more affordable? Because yes, it's a trend, it's nice, but to really include that into the day-to-day diets, this needs to be affordable, of course, and to have a good access to the price. So this is, again, related to the formulation and to the upstream parts, how we consider local Asian sourcing on plant-based proteins, for example, and how we give broader access to that through different channels, direct channels, internet, retail, etc. So these are the key aspects which will be important for your proposal to consider. So I will not take too long on that, because I would like to give the floor for questions and answers, hopefully. And I would like to hand over back to Agni.
Okay, thank you, Mr. College, for the presentation. So, yeah, I think you already mentioned several key topics for the research proposal. So, for all the participants that already joined, you can write it down what just Mr. College mentioned. First is about how to improve the taste of the plant-based product, and then how to make it affordable. So I think with this kind of key question, you can start to, start to type your question and then send directly to me. Then we can discuss more at the online session. Q&A session at the end of the session. Okay, now let's move along to our second speaker. So Professor Lim. Professor Sharon Lim is actually now the Associate Dean for Global Partnership at the Graduate College of Nanyang Technological University, Singapore, and also Associate Professor of Bioengineering at the School of Chemical and Biomedical Engineering. So today, Professor Lim will explain to us regarding NTU postgraduate research program in general. Professor Lim, the time is yours.
Thank you, Agni, and thank you, Mr. Colette, for the introduction and then the partnership with NTU to execute and this in the contest. And I think that is a very important opportunity, both for NTU as well as for IMCD to partner and then explore further collaboration. And I'm just going to give a little bit of an overview of the postgraduate research at NTU, our programs, as well as the requirements that are attached to getting admissions at NTU. And my colleague in the next speaker will be describing more specifically on the programs at the School of Biological Sciences in particular the plant science. Okay, so Mr. Collette did say that NTU is one of the top partners that they have in the region, and this is rightfully so because we have a quite interesting and technology enhanced campus in the west side of Singapore. This is the aerial view taken by our drone, and that shows the size of the campus, about 200 hectares. It's nestled in a greeneries, which is much more distinct compared, and a lot of plants around compared to the one that is in the city. So I think this is something that is a selling point that we would like to always enhance. We were named one of the most beautiful campuses in the world by some sort of ranking system. And then talking about ranking, we actually do pride ourselves being one of the top global young universities. We are one of the top 50 under 50, and many of our subjects for studies actually are ranked quite highly as well. Most of them are, many of them are the top 10. So it's a very nice place to study, and then to study not only in science and in STEM, but also with the interfaces with arts and humanities. So this is the organization structure or the various colleges that we have at NTU. Of course, we are technological university, so about 60% of our faculty members are in engineering. We also have very strong science, College of Science. And recently we have a merger between one of the schools in the College of Engineering and a division in the College of Science, creating an interdisciplinary school called the School of Chemistry, Chemical Engineering, and Biotechnology that enables students to be interdisciplinary in their studies. And we also have graduate college, at which we take care of all our graduate students' needs, and then our graduate studies organizations. And we also have autonomous institutions or institutes that are NIE, the Rajaratnam School of International Studies, Earth Observatory Singapore, Singapore Center for Environmental Life Sciences and Engineering, as well as a few others that we have on campus that you will be able to visit or collaborate with. Okay, and then in the NTU graduate programs, we have two different degrees that we offer. One is Doctor of Philosophy and Master's by coursework or by research. So the one that we will be offering through this competition will be Master by Research. So we have about a lot of 82 master's program by coursework. We have 37 PhD programs by research and 12 master's program by research. And for those of you who are interested maybe in the future to explore joint PhD after the master's program, we also have about 20 programs that are actively cultivated between NTU and our partners in the Europe as well as in the Americas. And we have about 2,700 PhD students and 5,000 master's students, with composition that are more than 50% of them are actually international. So we are a very international campus. A lot of people from various different parts of the world, they collaborate, they learn from each other. And that also is strengthened by the faculty members who are also mostly international faculty members. So you will get a lot of exposures from different cultures, different way of thinking, and that's what makes it really a lot of fun to be at NTU. And for graduate college, we are enhancing quality education. We would like to provide our students with the best that we can provide for that through diversity and inclusion, as well as through the interdisciplinary programs that we have. Any discipline will allow you to also collaborate with people from other disciplines, and with that we form the graduate college, which is in 2018, to provide holistic graduate education for that is innovative, and by providing also experiential learning and collaborative learning to our graduate students. And this is the pillars of NTU graduate education. We provide not just education in the courses, but we also provide students with hands-on research experiences. And in addition to that, we also provide innovation opportunities, which means that students who are interested in being innovators, they will have a lot of guidance from the faculty members, as well as from the a unit called Intuitive that provides translation from the research that was done in the academia to the industry. And and all that actually provides us to also prepare you to be part of the community and build the community and impact them with the innovations that you have done during your studies at NTU. And this is the education goal that we have pride ourselves with. We provide distinctive and holistic education, preparing you for lifelong learning, and then and creating value, impact for local, global economy, society, as well as the world at large. So we really like to train you in 3 C's: your character, your competence, and cognitive agility. What it means that we will going to provide education that builds you as a person, that are technically competent with your hands, and then who can really, we also train your brain, and that's why you need to be able to be agile. In this time of world when things are always changing, we need to be able to think on our feet, and that's why we are actually providing you with this kind of training that is through one of the transferable skills, for example, that will give you this kind of soft skills that will translate into multiple domains regardless of what you're studying. And I think that was what Mr. Colette also mentioned earlier, that regardless of what you study, you can always expand yourself in others in the future. Okay, and so the graduate school is there all the way from your admissions, your orientation, application, admissions, to your candidature, to your obtaining your degree. We will be there along the way. And these are just some timelines on when you typically would apply, and then where to apply and what to submit. So these informations will be available through the Nuffic website as well, particularly for these for the purpose of this competition. And then these are the requirements, the basic requirements for the degree, and technical proficiencies, as well as English proficiencies that are required for your admissions package. We have scholarships and multiple different types of scholarships that are available on NTU. And so these are just examples of those, but more importantly today, we will be listening, and then you are all here because of our new partnerships with IMCD and Nuffic to provide you with the Masters of Engineering, Masters of Science in plant biology in this next year in admission, for next year's admission. And if you have any more questions, please feel free to write us. And that's the QR code that you can scan, and it brings you to the Graduate College website. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Lim. I hope that for all the participants that Professor Lim presentation will give you more motivation to join this competition, so that you can grab the chance to continue your master degree at NTU. So for the next speaker, we will hear Professor Ma presentation. So Professor Ma is an assistant professor at School of Biological Science. So he will explain more deeply about the master degree at biological science at NTU. Also the ongoing research that currently happen in this faculty. So Professor Ma, the time is yours.
Hi. Hi, everyone. First of all, thank you so much, for giving me this opportunity. I'm very honored, to give this presentation to introduce about, the plant science, program, from related to the master study that in my school, School of Biological Sciences. Usually we call it, SBS, here. My name is Wei Ma. I'm currently assistant professor from SBS. So, the screen frozen there. Okay, so before I talk about the plant biology research here, I would like to first emphasize to all of you that actually the research topics in my school is pretty broad, and you can see that it's covered many different areas in the biological sciences. And today we are focused talk about the plant biology here, which has been highlighted. Okay. So moving forward, we are aware that, the research funding is extremely important, for supporting our research. So as you can see from this figure that in the past several years that, the faculty from our school, we receive, decent, amount of, research, fundings, to support our research. And we are also aware that, publication is also very important, for us. And you can see on the right part of this figure that it shows, in the past several years, the faculty, different labs, in my school, we have published, many, nice papers on the decent journals in our research field. And moving forward, I am imagining a very important and interesting question that, our student is considering is where are our graduates, our students, after their graduation. So actually the information on this slide, this is the information for PhD student and master student, graduated from our school. So you can see that, they either went to the local university or overseas, pursue as the, the postdoc research fellows. Some of them, they join the industry, go to the pharmaceutical biotech companies. Some of them, they participate into the management, such as, funding agency or other government agency, etc. Some of them, they went to other type of industries, such as, the venture capitals, patent law, scientific publishing, etc. And some of our graduates, our students, even, start our own startups. So I can give you a few examples. The first two students, they are our PhD students, and the third student is our master students, who graduated from SBS before. And you see that now they serve as, the CEO or CSO, in their startup, respectively. So moving forward, now I would like to, take your attention, back to the plant, biology or plant physiology classes that you took before. These days, we often ask an important question. Now we have less and less, resources. So how can we, but the population, is growing and we are facing other challenges such as, the global climate change or whatever. So how can we feed, more people with less, resource available? So this is a question we keep on asking. So this absolutely, indicating the importance for the research, for plant biology, because plants, they are so important, and providing food is one of its important, uses. This is what we learn from our courses. So I would like to remind you another, several key things for plant biology that with several interesting questions. The example one, which I would like to share with you is, you might still remember photosynthesis, right? Photosynthesis is important. You might be wondering, for the carbohydrate, where do those carbon resources coming from? It's coming from the air, carbon dioxide, right? So the plant system have the, the axon system, fix the, carbon dioxide, convert them to glucose, become our food. And how this is working? And are you interested, in this part of research? And if you are, here is the right place, and we have the program right for you. And another example, is the oil. So vegetable oil that we are using for cooking every day. This is also very important, for our human diet, right? And the global demand for vegetable oil is increasing very quickly. So how can we resolve this problem? And are you interested in this type of research? And come and join us, and here is the right place for you. I would like to give you another example, plant interaction with pathogens. And we are aware that, plants, they are the cellular living organisms, okay? So when, the pathogen attacking them, they cannot run, they cannot hide. So what should they do? And the pathogen, they can, cause severe damage to agriculture. And this is definitely affect, our food industry. So if you are, but during the evolution, plants, they are very smart. They, develop, excellent, the system, to fight against, the pathogen. So if you are interested in this type of topic, and come and join us, and we have, the lab, who is doing excellent job here. And another example I would like to give to you is we are aware these days, integration of, the computational expertise into biology and doing the bioinformatics. This is the extremely, for promoting, for the biological sciences, including plant biology. So are you interested in this field? And if you are, and we have the right program for you. So now, before I talk about, the several plant biology faculty lab research, and I want to give you a brief introduction regarding the history of the plant biology at, SBS NTU. So I would like to put the clock back to 20 years ago. Our founding dean, Professor James Tam, and who is a plant-derived, cyclical peptide expert. And he came here and, established our school. And 10 years ago, Professor Mullah-Keja, who is expert in photosynthesis, I talk about, Professor Mullah-Keja's research to you shortly. And, he joined our school and he's doing very well. A couple of years later, and our university decided to take, to expand plant biology program. So we initiated more hiring. So in year 2015, Professor Yan Song Miao, an expert in actin cytoskeleton, and he joined our school. 1 year later, Professor Peter Nixon, an expert in cyanobacteria, and he joined our school as a visiting professor. And 1 more year later, and we initiated more hiring, and several new plant biology faculty joined our school, and including myself. So now, if you look at our school, you can see that we have more faculty with diverse expertise in plant biology. And I'm going to use several slides and introduce about what we are doing in our labs for you individually. So we start with Prof. Oliver Mullah-Keja first. And we are aware that the importance of the photosynthesis. And the Dr. Oliver Mullah-Keja's lab, he's doing outstanding research, in the understanding photosynthesis. So for instance, his lab is trying to tackle some very important biological questions. For example, how do the plants in general manage to fix the carbon dioxide in spite of error-prone, machinery? And in addition, let me move this one. And what are the strategy, that nature has discovered to enhance, carbon fixation? So actually understanding, these questions are very important, for understand the photosynthetic system and how to promote it and improve its efficiency and boost the food production. So this is some very important research conducting in Dr. Oliver Mullah-Keja's lab, and he's doing very well, and he also gets some very prestigious, research award recently. I will tell you shortly. And moving forward, I want to introduce about the research in Prof. Yan Song Miao's lab. He is an excellent, plant biologist, study the plant signal transaction, particularly for the pathogen signaling. So his lab, has developed, excellent system and, for study how the plant, perceive the pathogen from the, how the plant cell perceive the signal from the pathogens and plant innate immune responses. So you can see his research also have, great application, for the, food technology. For instance, promoting, the development of the disease protecting technology, anti-sense, and yield enhancement. His lab is also doing the molecular farming, and you can see that his lab has excellent publication records, and the research in his lab also has been frequently highlighted by the media. And the next faculty I want to introduce to you is about myself. So in my lab, we are studying the plant oil. So we are interested in study about, the gene regulation of the plant oil. And we are aware that vegetable oil is very important, for the human diet and renewable industry feedstock. And the global challenge now is we need more and more plant oils. So how can we, resolve this problem? So my lab, we have the platform identifying these, novel, oil regulators, and we understand how this network, how the oil is biosynthesized. Now we can do, the engineering to engineer the pathway, the protein, and make the plant produce more oil and improve the fatty acid composition. So and my lab also you can see that we have some good publications in the past several years, and our research has been highlighted by the media and also leading to the patent application and awarded. And moving forward, I'm going to introduce to you another my school colleague, plant biologist, and their lab they work at the bioinformatics. So they are excellent computational biologists in plants. So first one is Prof. Marek Mutiwil. So Mutiwil's lab, they have excellent expertise in study plant genomics, transcriptomics, and metabolics. And his lab, contribute a lot to generate more resilient, nutrition crops. For example, the platform that his lab built up contribute to design, the enhancement for the nutrients, stress resilience and yield increase. And also the platform that his lab created also contribute to the metabolic engineering and the gene prediction. And you can see that the Mutiwil's lab also have excellent publication record, and his work has been frequently highlighted by the media. Then moving forward, I want to introduce to you another excellent, bioinformatics faculty colleague, Professor Yako. So you can see that from, his, recent publications, both are very nice on top journals. And one is his publication on lychee, and the other is Darrow's, blueberry. So they are also very important, food in the food system. And Dr. Yako's lab, they have excellent, expertise in genomics. Some essential, key biological questions his lab is trying to tackle, such as how do the elite cultivar arise, treat off the, selective breeding. So his lab is trying to use genomic approach to tackle these questions. And you can see that, his lab also have, access to, publication records. So moving forward, the last faculty colleague in plant biology in my school I would like to introduce to you is Dr. Yan Hong, who is the senior lecturer in my school. Dr. Hong's lab, has a broad research interests such as plant secondary metabolism and genetic manipulation, technology, field trial, and genomics and genetics of the tropical tree species. So Dr. Hong is an excellent, expert, in the field of the plant translational research. And I also would like to, impress you that, we are working hard and try to be very dedicated to our research and the teachings. For example, two of the plant biology faculty members, Prof. Oliver Mulakaja and Prof. Yan Su Miao, they recently won the very prestigious, NRF investigatorship, in Singapore. This is very important, very competitive. So they won, Dr. Miao won this recently, and Oliver won this, last year. And we also try to be good educators. So Nanyang Education Award in our university is very important, highlights, for our teachings contribution. So I am very honored to get this award last year, and the Prof. Mutwil, and he just won this award, last month. So now I would like to use a few slides to highlight something important for the master program, at SBS. So at 12 months, and you need to pass the qualifying exam we call QE here, to confirm your master, candidature, and at the end of the 2 years of the program, and you need to submit the thesis exam by the 2 examiners, and if you pass it, and you will be awarded of your master degree. So this is the some key thing that you might want to know, and highlighting another several things for you regarding the QE. For all the master students, you need to pass it, at the 12 months to confirm your candidature. And you also need, before your QE, you also need to finish, 3 required, courses, a total of, 9 units. And you also need to, complete some other online, courses that has been required by our university. And for the GPA, you need to be at least 3 or higher, to maintain for your master candidature. And if you have any question to our school, and please, email our school central office to our associate chair in charge of, graduate study, and also our secretary colleagues, Ms. Mei Chong and Ms. Gladys, and they are excellent and very helpful. And we will be happy to address your questions. Again, thank you so much for your attention. Hopefully I impressed you about our program, and please join us and apply here. And we are looking forward to seeing you here and several months later. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Ma. What an interesting presentation. Actually, I'm really interested in one of your questions, actually, how we can feed more people with resource available. So guys, if you cannot shake this question off from your head, meaning that you are on the right place, so write down your idea and then submit to this competition so you can be part of the global solution. Okay, now let's moving along to our last presenter. Please welcome Mrs. Indi Hardono. So Mrs. Indi is a scholarship team coordinator at Nuffic Indonesia. She will explain to us regarding the technical aspect of this competition. So Mrs. Indi, you may start your presentation.
Yeah. Wait. I have to. No, I lost my. Wait. Yeah, can you see that?
Yes, yes, we can see
Okay.
the presentation.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Agni. Yeah, to begin with, I would like to introduce myself first. I'm Indi Hardono. I'm scholarship team coordinator for Nuffic NESO Indonesia, now becomes Nuffic Southeast Asia. Yes, okay. There's a little problem at my computer. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Yeah. So about the contest itself, actually, we are being appointed to speak by MCD to be the coordinator for the implementation of the competition or the contest itself. So if you're interested to take part in the contest, the green food contest, this is what you have to prepare. This is what you have to do. Yeah. So it's about the contest. It is a contest where the applicants submit their idea in the form of proposal. So you need to have a proposal. Yeah. The prize, as already mentioned by the professors, all the professors, is a full scholarship study Master of Science by Research in Nanyang Technological University with the study program Plant Biology, and there has been a thorough explanation about the study program. I think yes, very interesting. I must say it's very interesting. Such a good exposure, and yeah, this contest is actually part of IMCD Cares program for Southeast Asia. Yeah. Next. Yeah. So who is the target group? Who is the target applicant of this green food contest? Actually, we target students who graduated as around January 2021. So basically still fresh graduates or students in their final semester, which will graduate no later than March 2023, because the prize, which is to study in Nanyang, will commence on September of 2023. So you would have to graduate before that, of course. Yeah. And with academic background in related fields related with plant biology, food technology, food science, and biotechnology. Yeah. And of course, we are looking for people who are committed to pursue their career in the respective area, namely field of food security. Okay. Yeah. So the eligibility criteria, that's what we call. Yeah. First of all, those who can apply are those are students from 6 countries in the Southeast Asian region. They should be a national of that country, reside in that country, and study at education institution from that particular countries. So there are 6 countries eligible for this contest. First is Indonesia, Singapore, Malaysia, the Philippines, Thailand, and Vietnam. And educational background, they should hold a bachelor degree, minimum honors or distinction. Yeah. So they should also have to have a valid GRE score, which is valid for 5 years, but not applicable for graduate of one of the autonomous university in Singapore. So for Singaporean students, it is exempted for the GRE score. And for English proficiency, we request, if not IBT TOEFL, it's IELTS. So with minimum score 6.5 for IELTS and IBT 90, which is valid for 2 years. from the date of the test. Those are the criteria. And the process of the application and assessment, we're using an online application, which is called Delta. Delta is developed by Nuffic for our, we have already conducted many scholarship programs. So Delta allows us to customize this online system for the Green Food Contest. So you will have to upload all the documents, all the requirement. You have to fill out the forms basically online. Yeah. So as far as the document, the required document is concerned, those are passport, copy of your passport, academic transcript and certificate. And if it is still in the original language, you have to have it translated into English. Yeah, for the transcript and certificate. And also for English language proficiency tests, and also valid GRE result, as I already mentioned before. And the most important thing is a proposal. Yeah, a proposal. That's why we highlighted here a bit. We try to help you by structuring the proposal into several questions. Those are the main thing that has to be addressed in the proposal, more or less. Yeah. So why does your idea contribute to a sustainable food industry? What kind of plant-based alternatives do you propose? How do upstream and downstream component of your idea look like? And it is also a component of respecting an Asian style culinary heritage. So the proposal would have to be around 800 to 1300 words. So 2 to 3 pages. It's not too long. And the competition is open. So Delta will be open. Will be on air on December 5. And it's going to be open until the 5th of January 2023. Yeah. So those are the requirement. Yeah. And the last is the timeline, our timeline for the application, selection, assessment, and also announcement of the contest. So first step would be eligibility check and assessment, which will be conducted by Nuffic and the jury. That will take place in January, early Jan. And based on this eligibility check and assessment, we will come up with a kind of short list, which will we pass on to NTU for further assessment, which will be on February until April 2023. And then the NTU, after they sort based on their requirement, based on their standard, they will give it back to us, a shorter list, I would say, for our final assessment. So the jury will decide on the final assessment on May 2023. And then the final announcement of the winner will be in May 2023. And the winner will be invited to Singapore for the prize presentation through a nice ceremony. And at the end, of course, the study commencement would be on 2023 September. Yeah. So yeah, I think that is the main thing that you have to know. There are 2 types of requirement that you would have to pay attention. the requirement of the food contest itself and the requirement for the university. Yeah. So yeah, I think it's quite clear here. If you have questions, you can ask us. Yeah, here. Some important website about the Green Food Contest and also about the study program itself. If you want to have more information about the study program, you can further you can further take the information from this link, and also for the application. And for the TOEFL and GRE test, you can also book through the online, and also for the IELTS. Okay, I think yeah, that's it actually, because yeah, we are just the coordinator for this contest. If you have questions, feel free to ask. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Cindy. So I hope that everyone already have a clearer information about this program deadline actually. So now we are moving to our Q&A session. So for all the participants here, if you have any question to the speaker, please write down your question in the chat so that we can address it to the speaker. Is there any question? Now maybe I can start with a question to Mr. Colette. So actually, as we know that plant-based food usually are associated with vegetarian, so how IMCD actually deal with this kind of association or stigma? Do you think this is as a business is an advantage that you already have a target customer, vegetarian people, or IMCD wants to rebrand this kind of association so that you can get more exposure to the people in general, not only vegetarian but also like flexitarian or something?
Yeah. No, that's a very good question. Of course, heavily related to the consumers we are talking about. Of course, traditionally in Asia, especially, there is certain tradition of vegetarian diets, simply because the plant-based naturally. Of course, we all have in mind India, for example, or more generally speaking, in Asia, soy-based product is naturally part of the diet. So when in other regions, Europe or in America, generally speaking, vegan represent quite a very small portion of the population. So just to reconnect with what Professor Wema mentioned before, we are really in a global challenge and of course a regional challenge of feeding people. So it's not about a niche population, but it's really to feed the majority of the population, majority of the consumers, and to bring something which fits their palate, their appetite, their taste, and really to have a broad approach. So that's really important because here we connect with the taste again. So and here it can be really open, and that's still something we are learning. So for Asia especially, and to come back on the example of soy, the B notes of soy is pretty well accepted. Okay, so that's something we can play around. But it's not the case in other regions where we have to mask somehow this B note. But then when we talk about other source, which might be rice, oats, or any kind of other vegetal source, then okay, what kind of taste could be, what kind of shape also could be appealing for consumers. So that's really something related to a better understanding of consumers' expectations around these criteria and how we can create something innovative, which will tackle the upstream ambition, feeding people with local crops or sources, and also matching a consumer expectation. So that's something we always try to understand, to investigate in, and to work. So, in order to be able to do that, we also work with some market insights or consumer insight, like Innova, which is one of our partner, or there are other tools as well to understand current and potentially future consumer expectations.
Okay, actually, I want to emphasize your comment on that. So you're talking about consumer trend or behavior, but as you know that when a certain country have an increase of income level, then the diet will shift to what they cannot afford in the beginning, then they afford in the later stage. For example, China or South Korea, that maybe 20 or 30 years ago, mostly they're not meat consumer, but now you can see that China have one of the biggest pork consumer in the world, right? So it's shifting from the heterogeneous diet that you have more plant-based and then now more meat. So IMCD itself, how you see this kind of changing the trend? So emphasizing that your first comment. Also that, do you have already a product that maybe meat substitute? Like, I expect that someday there will be a rendang food, but not using beef, but maybe plant-based materials.
Yeah, I think this should not be, to come back to your first point and question, this is compatible. It doesn't mean that because we would like to develop the planet, we need more plant-based, that we completely stop eating meat, just to make it simple. Meat is really good, healthy as well, when it's properly done. And the matter or the question is much more about the frequency of consumption of the meat and the good meat, and to accept to pay a bit more, maybe to have good meat. And of course, I think this will remain. Then the question is for the rest of the diet, because also, of course, there is an environmental impact or conscious, especially more for the young generation. So how we balance our diet to enjoy and to have a balanced also income spent into our food intake, and how this is developed to tackle these different objectives. So the communication also and the consumer awareness on, okay, when I eat a good piece of beef or pork or duck or whatever, okay, what is my direct contribution, my direct impact? Same when I take a flight to travel anywhere. I have a direct contribution as a consumer on the carbon footprint and the water footprint. What is acceptable for me as an individual and as a collectivity? So this should be communicated, and maybe you know also well, because in Indonesia, one of the most known players, the Greens, started to communicate on these two environmental impact, to educate or to contribute to the education of consumers. And we see more and more examples like this. So I think this is really interesting in terms of understanding of the consumer behavior, what they're able or willing to do. And I'm a strong believer that we don't have to oppose the meat and the rest. It's more about the big picture and the environmental impact, or even an ethical approach about what we would like to eat and what we would like to pay for what we eat. And of course, the pleasure, the taste should remain one of the key drivers for everyone, for us, for the consumers, generally speaking.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Colette, for I think now I agree with your explanation on that. It's also interesting to see, also to understand more customer behavior on that, and also educate people to eat more healthier food. Now, I would like to ask a question to Professor Lim. So regarding the NTU graduates program in general, you mentioned in the earlier that we have coursework and research based master program, right? So I would like to ask more about this master by research. Can you explain more about this? I mean, like, is it 100% that the master student will, doing the research in the lab, or they're still going to get some of the course? Can you explain that in NTU?
Yeah, sure, Agni. That's an important question. And for all the masters by research, students have to take some coursework to provide them with the theory behind that is relevant to their research project. And then so that will take about a semester or 2 semesters, depending on the students. And then during the time that they are not taking the courses, then the students are typically performing research in the professor's lab.
Okay. Then is it mandatory that in NTU the master students should publish a publication in a certain journal or not? Because some of the university really, have the mandatory that before they can graduate, they have to publish some paper.
Yeah.
How about NTU?
Yeah. So there is no hard and fast rules at NTU, but I think I would like to bring it back to the view of the student by saying that if you actually would like to be competitive in the job market, right? I think having a publication will be beneficial. So it is really encouraged that the student actually have some sort of publications when they graduate. And 2 years is typically enough time to produce a paper, depending on the project, of course. And alternatively, if a student does not have a publication, we can also look at technology disclosure. For example, as mentioned earlier, NTU is promoting innovation that is translatable for industry application. So then the idea here is that if students come up with some ideas that is innovative, then they can also file something called technology disclosure for potential patent application.
I see.
So one of those two would be a good outcome for the student when they graduate.
Yeah. Thank you, Professor Lim, for the explanation. Now, I think there is one question from Ridwan, actually. I'd like to ask regarding the participant. It is for fresh graduate or open for professional experience too? If the participant were not selected or won the competition, is there any opportunity to continue to study at NTU? I think this question for Professor Lim, right? you can address that question, Professor Lim. Oh.
So I think the first part of the question seems to be addressed to Mrs. Indy. I believe that somebody who's graduated in 2021,
Yeah,
all the way to March 2023 will be eligible for the competition. Am I correct, Mr. Indy?
yeah. So we are not actually looking for people who are already in the workforce for quite some time. So this is still focusing more on fresh graduates, quote unquote, and soon to be graduating students. I think it's clear.
Okay. And then I can take the second part of the question, which is if they are not selected or won the competition, is there opportunity to continue to study? Yes, we encourage you to apply, and there are various scholarships that are available. I have which you can access through our website, but then that will be then separate admissions that you will be considered under. Yeah. So we welcome all applicants.
Yeah. Okay, I hope that already answered your question with one. Now, actually, I have one more question for Professor Ma regarding the research topic in SBS. So you already present some of the topics that are currently ongoing in the School of Biological Science. is there any opportunity for the student to come out with their own idea? Maybe, I don't know, regarding to the topic that, or the idea that you write for this competition, for example, but not really match in your current research. Is there any potential that they can still do what they want to do with that topic?
Okay,